Hello, everybody. Tammy here. I wanted to talk about a very practical option for you when you are trying to provide resources for your students. And sometimes we like to do our instructional pieces through Google Slides or Google Docs. And normally we want them to have the resources that we are including if they're doing it along with us remotely, or if they're in the classroom and they're on their own devices. We would like for them to have the resources. If I'm embedding links, if I'm embedding videos, then I want them to have that right in front of them, especially if we're doing some kind of hybrid instruction where you have kids at home too. So usually when we have our instruction, we have notes and our embedded links and videos in a Google Slides presentation. It also works for Google Docs as well. We normally share it with them in the upper right, and we make them an editor or a viewer, and we wouldn't make them an editor unless we wanted them to work in the document. But we usually make them a viewer because we don't want them. This is not something that we're assigning for each student to have their own copy. They're not editing. It's just notes and embedded links and videos and resources that we want them to have. So normally that's what we do is share. Then they open that up, the link that you provide when you share it. And then when they go on, they see the slide deck just like you would. It looks like it's in edit mode, even though it just says viewer in the upper left. When they click on embedded links, then they have to usually click it again. And sometimes we'll just say, hey, just click on present, and then you'll see it in the mode that I want you to see it in. Well, there is a different option called Publish to Web for Google Slides and Docs that allows you to provide a link that will open it in a presentation mode, basically, and they can click on the embedded links once. They can hit play on the embedded videos and it plays. And so it puts it basically in presentation mode, which is what we want anyway. So let's begin by, I will go up to here, up to the top and upper left, and go to File. And then you'll see it down here at the bottom, File, Publish to Web. And then it brings up this pop-up that's got several options here. The first thing you'll notice is the auto advance time. The default is 3 seconds, but you are able to change that. Now that's only if you want it in a slideshow and you want it to each slide to progress every 3 seconds, every 5 seconds or whatever. And so that would be appropriate when you have different photos. And I'll show you another example of that in just a second. But normally as a teacher, if I just have a slides presentation that has notes and my embedded links and videos, then I am not going to have it progressing every 3 seconds. I want the students to stay there as long as they need it. And so I am not going to check this box or this box. These are going to be checked if you want them to launch the slideshow immediately when they click the link, and it's going to automatically advance slides for the second durations that you have set. But normally, like I said, we don't do this. So I usually leave these blank, and so I would then hit publish. And before I hit publish, I will show you there is one additional option down here. If you want to require the viewers to sign in with their account before they view this, then you can click that link. Normally I wouldn't do that because I'm just putting the link in Google Classroom anyway, and I want them to have access to the notes. If it is sensitive information, you may want to click that. So I'm just going to hit publish, and it's going to ask, are you sure? I'm going to say yes. Okay. Now it's going to provide the link, and this is the link that you would copy and paste into your Google Classroom. And so I'm going to copy that real quick, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. So I'm going to open up a new tab, and I'm going to paste that link. And before I hit enter, I'll show you back here at the end of this link, you see the 3,000. That 3,000 number is representing the seconds, the 3 seconds. So 30,000 would be 30 seconds. So that's the number back there. So you can change the duration. They did give you those different options to choose from, but you can make it as detailed as you want right there. So that's just at the end of it. So, but remember, we didn't activate the auto advance, so that's not going to be a factor. So I'm going to hit enter, and then it's going to bring up the presentation. It looks like it's in presentation mode. Let me get rid of those. So we have our presentation, and it's not auto advancing because I didn't check the box for it to launch the slideshow when they got here. And so they're able to advance in the lower left, and then they are able to, let me go to one of those slides that had, so they can click on a link, and they were just going to have to click one time and done. So it takes them right to the resources that you're wanting. If you have a video embedded, then they just click play and it will play the video right there. And so I think this is a more appropriate option if we're just providing resources and notes for the kids, because we really want them to hit present anyway. So this provides it in this mode. And another cool benefit of this is if let me go back to, actually, we'll just leave it on that slide right there. So if I go to that slide, and if I make a change, so I update my slides, I don't have to change the link. So here I made a change, and the next time the student goes to this slide deck, I can hit refresh, and there's that change. So they can either refresh it if they already had it up, but most likely they didn't, but they hit the link for the notes again, and there's the updates that you snuck in there. So it's in real time, but you don't have to change the link. You don't have to reshare it. So it's kind of that's a huge benefit, I think, especially if you have something that you are building upon throughout a unit or throughout the year even, and you want them to have a link to that resource and you keep adding to it. That's awesome. So I did want to show you an example. So if I do publish to the web, and if I did click on start the slideshow as soon as the player loads, and then restart the slideshow after the last slide, that means it's going to loop and start over again. So if I did choose that, I did have another slideshow here that is on student launches that I had, and it is progressing every 5 seconds. So I did choose those boxes to be able to give them some inspiration. You might do this with a slideshow of photos, and you can go through. So I have this at 5 seconds. So you know the link at the end of the link is 5,000. And I can change that number. But that's the link if I have chosen to automatically start the slideshow. And just so you know, you can actually start the slide, or the kids could start the slideshow right here by just hitting the play button right here. And then it would, because it was already set to 3,000, so it would be 3 seconds, then it would play for every 3 seconds, but it didn't automatically launch, which is usually what we don't want them to automatically launch. But in case you do, you have that option as well. So I hope that helps. I think it's a great option, again, if we're just providing resources for the kids as opposed to sharing and having them hit the present button to see what you really want them to see. I wanted to make one more point about the options that you see when you do publish to web, and that is the option right here to embed a link. So this is HTML code that you would embed into a website. So if you have a website and you want to include an embedded presentation of this slides presentation, then you would copy all of this HTML and then paste it onto the editor on your website. So that will embed this whole presentation in a set area. And you also have the same options that you had with the link option, and that's starting the slideshow automatically, looping it, and the change in your seconds, also with the size that you want that box on your website right there. So just wanted to add that, and I hope that helps hopefully with the options that you've got available to you when you're sharing with your students. Let me know if you have any questions, and I hope you have a great day.